All right, welcome to another episode of Conversations with Drivers. I'm your host and driver advocate, Lamar Sullivan. All right, and with us today is a driver out of the Norfolk market, Kenneth. How you doing today, Kenneth?
Good man, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for joining us. I know you've been with us for quite a while, so I thought it was a great time to bring you in and kind of get your background.
Cool.
Cool. So let's get into some of the questions here. So first question here: did driving with dispatch help you start your business, start your own business, or were you already a business owner before starting with dispatch?
So I was already a business owner. I worked for a delivery company called Pickup Now before I transferred over to dispatch, and then kind of dispatch kind of brought everything into perspective of the delivery, the LTL world. So final mile delivery. You know, so yeah, it just kind of like opened a lot of opportunities, and dispatch is my number one delivery platform that I operate on. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. Talk about that. Talk about that perspective. What did dispatch show you once you kind of got on there?
So dispatch was more of for me a kind of so I deal a lot with a lot of HVAC in this particular market. A lot of painting, commercial kind of stuff, commercial entities. Sherwin-Williams. We do Worthwood, Ferguson. We do Carrier, Train. We do a couple of those, and just the whole HVAC industry is kind of brought everything into light. So what I particularly like about the HVAC is that we don't have to enter into customers' houses. It's from, storefront to doorfront, with the HVAC kind of stuff that dispatch allows us to do. We'll pick up from a warehouse and then we'll take it to a shop, and it's pretty straightforward, and it's fun and easy, and it's what I like. It's where it's at.
Cool. Love it. Love it. So how did you find out about dispatch?
Dispatch was when I was doing online search, when I was looking for gig opportunities. It came up either on like Facebook or um, Google, one of the two I'd remembered, and then I'd applied, and they were looking for cargo van drivers at the time, and luckily enough, I had cargo van, and we just went from there, and we got hired. And yeah, that was it.
Cool. How long have you been driving with us?
4 years now.
4 years.
Yeah,
4 years. And have you always been in the Norfolk area? Did you start in a different area?
yeah. So I started the deliveries in Norfolk. Yeah, that's always been my home base. So I've kind of just been in this area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So what are some of the challenges of being a delivery driver in your area, particularly?
Traffic in the tunnel. In this area particularly, we have a lot of water that surrounds us here.
Mhm.
So traffic is a nightmare a lot more often than not. And dealing with the Hampton Roads Bridge Tunnel and the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel, the downtown tunnel, the high rise bridge, and all of my Norfolk people, they'll know what I'm talking about. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's just the key is putting the orders in early. The earlier the better, because 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, start dropping orders that got to go to what we call the north side, which requires you to go through the tunnel. It'll take you 2 or 3 hours to get over there. It's just a nightmare,
Mhm.
and that's super important, for clients that put in orders. Always put them in as early as possible in the day so that we can ensure a timely delivery for the clients and whoever's putting in orders.
Okay.
But yeah,
So
that's the main difficulty. Other than that, there's not really much other difficulties because all of our clients that we have now, they're great. The material's always ready. They're always polite. They're always friendly. And yeah, yep.
cool. Cool. So you would say it's really important for you to kind of like know your area, to know like where that traffic's gonna be, what time, and all of that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, knowledge is key for this area specifically. Knowing your routes, knowing your drop off locations, knowing your customers. It's a good rapport with the clients, and I just it's super important just to get to be in the know,
Yeah.
and But it's a learning curve. It's not hard. It's none of it's hard, but it's a learning curve. And with time comes, experience, and then you start getting good at it.
For sure, for sure. So how has dispatch helped you increase your business?
Just workload and income, with the amount of work, it's it's good. It's well, I operate uh 5 days, 6 days a week for dispatch. So the income is pretty good. It's nice to have a couple extra $100. And sometimes I've cleared a grand, a week before running on dispatch, when you hustle, if you work, sun up, sun down, you can make money. It's
Mhm.
out there. You gotta be able to get it and make sure you can get it on time.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good way to put it. So you've been at dispatch for, you said, 4 years.
Yeah.
What kind of changes have you noticed over the years that have improved your experience?
Hold on 2 seconds. Actually, hold on just a second. Sorry.
Mhm.
Sorry about that. I had to take that. I have a second job. I run I do the music entertainment industry. So actually I'm a DJ
Mhm.
as my nighttime job. So that was them calling me to confirm my schedule for tonight. Sorry about that. But
Okay.
yeah, I do that's another job I do. It's all gig work, but I love that. So go ahead.
Tell me about that. So you have this other job on the side. So how do you
Yep.
kind of balance, doing those two things? Sounds like that's kind of more night work, and this is kind of during the day.
Yep. Yep. So that's a 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. shift. It's an entertainment shift. So we'll either DJ or we'll do some sort of entertainment. I'm not sure. We'll operate a band. I'll perform lighting or whatever they have a need for. It just kind of depends upon the venue and where there's a need for that. But yeah, those hours are late nights, and then I'll get off at 2, and then I'll usually start dispatch at like 6 or whenever in the morning. We got a lot of early morning runs, either from Sherwin or Worthwood. They're super early with Worthwood. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's just a matter of balancing. I operate set my schedule to run dispatch. Monday through Saturday. In
Mhm.
the daytimes, and then I'll run the other gigs whenever at nighttime. It is what it is. So.
For sure. And so what that kind of entrepreneurial, mindset, where does that come from for you? Was that something that you developed over time, or you
Yeah,
kind of like stumbled upon, or what was that like?
as far as the entrepreneurial mindset, you're saying? Just
Yes.
my father was an entrepreneur. He was a submarine captain in the Navy, and he retired and then built his own radio business. He built boats. He did all kinds of cool stuff. So
Mhm.
I kind of like the idea of always chasing, always hustle, always find the next best thing, always keep moving. You're not doing anything. You're not getting anywhere if you're not moving anywhere. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So to get somewhere, you got to move somewhere. You know what I'm saying?
for sure, for sure.
That's where that came from.
Okay. So sorry to get back to my question was. So so you've been at dispatch for about 4 years.
Yeah.
So what changes have you noticed over the years that have improved your experience on the app?
Oh, number one off the bat is the bundling. The bundling that Dispatch does. They utilize like the feature that bundles the order and puts it in a good route for you, which is super cool.
Mhm.
I also like the option that they've included to unlock the orders. So say if support reaches out to you and there was a last minute order that a client put in and all of the drivers are busy or whatever, they'll reach out to you and say, hey, can you help us out on this one? I'll say, yeah, sure. I'm actually going to be in that area. They can assign it to you
Mhm.
and you can help out dispatch, if they're, struggling to get an order fulfilled. And then the feature allows you to unlock it with permission from support, obviously, to include that in your route and then drop that on the way within a route that you're already headed. So
Yep.
that's super cool. The in chat feature is super cool. So back when I started, we didn't have any of that. We had a landline we were calling
Yeah.
dispatch, and everybody had like 15 calls waiting, and you had to wait, and the response time from the support agents has drastically improved since back in the day. And I like the features, with the multi-stop features. I don't know if that was a thing back in the day, but I remember it was just one stop, one order, one stop, one order, one stop, one order. And now that they can kind of put in multiple orders and just create one route and just go and come and pick up a whole bunch of stuff, because we were limited to I think three live orders at a time,
Yeah.
and then everything else was scheduled in the queue. So if you were a preferred driver, you had to have, and the client wanted you to come, hey, I've got runs for you, you had to let them know, hey, well, make sure you schedule it, and make sure it's scheduled certain times of the day, because we can only take 3 at one time back in the day. But now we can take, I've had like 8 before from a client, from like, it's Worthwood is super notorious for that. And they'll put in like 10 orders or 10 stops, and they'll just put them in like 2 or 3 orders with a bunch of different stops on one, and we can just roll with it. And it's just easy peasy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Love it.
Switched over to the iPad. Like my
Yeah.
command center. I got a command center right there.
Yeah, I was gonna say a little bit different view, but that's okay.
You have everything's on a phone holder. So I got a desk here. So this is my little setup. We got so check this out. So we got a little desk over here, guys. Hold on a second. Back over. So we are a gig driver. We're gonna give you a little inside tour here. Hold on a second. All right, so we have our desk here. This is where all of our paperwork hangs out for whatever. I don't know why I got duct tape, don't ask. This is cool, man. I know this is kind of off topic here, but I listen to state. So this is our state highway patrols here in Virginia. You can always tell where the accidents are. Hey, we got a disabled vehicle. Hey, we got a multi-vehicle crash, lane 2, whatever interstate, whatever area. We can always hear these guys, and that avoids traffic. So super helpful in time management. And I can always get ahead of the game when I hear that guy. And so that's a little fun note that I have on the side here. Another thing is I keep all the paperwork, whatever here. So if I have to sign any paperwork or, quote, handle paperwork, we just throw it there, because that is an add-on option for our clients, handle paperwork. And it's a little fun fact there. We got the whole setup, buddy.
Yeah, that's a great setup there. No one has ever shown me their like in vehicle setup. So that's very different.
Got 2. So up here we got 2 phone holders. We'll write the 2 phones at one time. I got the phone up here with navigation. Got here for the app. So this will run the dispatch app or whatever. And this is also for navigation, like if I'm doing something else up here. But yeah, man, it's great. Got the little steering wheel over here, so we can whip through the parking lots, whatever we got to do.
That's great.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that are most important to you as a gig driver and a business owner?
So most important thing about being a gig driver as a business owner is obviously the dollar per mile. Respectfully, it is all about making profit, and I like to ensure that we are operating at a profit. Dispatch is very, very, in my opinion, is very, very good with that. They always compensate us for the commodity. So if it's a big commodity, we're always getting top dollar on that. And I can't appreciate that enough. Obviously, a lot of these other last mile gigs out there and gig companies don't do that. And that's why they're on the back burner. And if there's an order on dispatch, I'm going to take it. Yeah. So
well, that's a great segue to my next question, because how do the orders on dispatch compare to some of the other gig apps that you use? I know you said you've talked about a little bit, our pay is better, but how do those orders kind of compare?
So the first thing, the pay is always is much better compared to other ones. What I also appreciate about dispatch is that you can view the order in its entirety, who the client is, where the pickup location is, where the drop-off location is, what the material exactly is, which is important, because a lot of these other platforms will just say big order, large order, or whatever, but you can see exactly what the material is and the weight of the material. And the notes feature on dispatch, I appreciate, because the notes will say, hey, you need to pull around to the back of the building, pull to the ramp. They tell you exactly where to go. They also offer notes for the drop off. Hey, you're going to go to this customer's house. They want it around the side of the house, at the left door, third on the left, whatever. And that's super helpful, because knowledge is power. And again, if we're all about meeting the KPIs and meeting our on-time performance, that information is super helpful. So we're not having to call the pickup location. Hey, where do we go? Hey, what are we doing? It's just the transparency with dispatches is very, very phenomenal compared to other apps, and that's most important to me.
Well, I love that you use that word transparency. That's one of our values, and so that's something that we obviously strive for with our drivers, to be as transparent as we can. Would you say that things like that note section or things like that level of detail are things that are lacking on some of the other apps that you've
100%.
used?
Yeah, so 100%. The level of detail that you highlighted there, that's super crucial. So the fact that we can call the client directly from the app, just hit the contact app, it populates the number, and we call the client direct through. is super, super handy. And the in-app chat feature to contact support if we have to do a return or we can't get in touch with the sender or the recipient. That's all like super handy. A lot of these other apps, you have to jump through hoops and you got to run miles and you got to call this number to call that number to call this number. And then you got to be on hold and it's just super time consuming. And I like being able to, I like eliminating any middleman when possible. So if we can eliminate having to call one rail that has to call the sender, then has to call the recipient who placed the order, it's just a whole headache, man. And One Rail is another company that I work for, but One Rail uses like 5 different gigs. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent, but yeah, the thing is that just makes the gig almost sometimes not worth it. So for example, if I see an order on the board of another gig company, and I know where the pickup location is and I know where the drop off location is, sometimes I avoid it because I know how much of a headache it is and I know how much of a hassle it's going to be. And like, I just don't want to deal with that. Like if I know I got to go to the pickup location to pick up a One Rail order, it's going to take me 15 minutes to find the material. It's going to take me another 15 or 20 minutes to bring the material to the vehicle and then load the vehicle. And then a lot of times they go to the same sender. Like it's a company that buys stuff over and over and over again. And it's hard to get in there because they'll either have a line of receiving shipments, like they'll have other vehicles ahead of you. You got to wait for that. You have to find somebody that's at the drop-off location to unload the material. You got to wait for them, and it's just a whole headache. And just for some reason, dispatch doesn't have either those clients or those shippers that have those issues, and I just appreciate that. So, yeah.
You've kind of touched on this for the most part, but kind of specifically, what do you like about working with dispatch?
I feel like, honestly, with dispatch, it's personable. And we have the webinars, we have the support team, we have upper level leadership like Brendan. And just like they call me on the regular, they'll reach out to me on the regular. JJ, Jamal, like you, I know you, and Jimmy, just everybody is just like, I feel like it's working for like a family company. It's not really corporate. I don't get corporate vibes from dispatch. I don't get corporate treatment from dispatch. I feel like if you're a good driver and you go the extra mile, dispatch looks out for you. They communicate with you. They take care of you, and that I appreciate.
Great. I'm glad that you've had that experience. That is what we go for. So I'm glad that you feel that as well. So thank you.
Yeah.
So you kind of you mentioned this, the webinars. What value have the webinars been to you?
The webinars are super helpful with just driver information. More or less, we don't really have sun runs over here, but like cargo van orders, add-on worth, or what are they? Add-on services. Sorry. So for like they tell you how to properly do add-on services, how to properly submit an adjustment form. It's all just helpful information. It's all it is. It's a helpful resource to make you a better dispatch driver. For sure.
That's a good way to put it. So why should other people drive with dispatch from your perspective?
I mean, if just why should they? That's a good question. Let me try to think of that question. Why should other drivers? I mean, if they had a choice to choose between dispatch and the other apps, I would always, recommend dispatch because they pay the best. They're the most friendliest. They're the most responsive when it comes to support requests for help. And yeah, those would be my reasons for sure.
Cool.
Transparency.
Good. Thank you for continuing to bring that up. That's my favorite value of dispatch. So I love when I hear other people bring it up. So if you could give any advice to other drivers at dispatch, other current drivers at dispatch, what would it be?
Have a smile on your face and be a team player.
Yeah, I love that. Smile on your face, be friendly. We want all of our drivers to have friendly interactions with their customers, and that goes a long way.
Yeah, and friendly interactions with other drivers. We're all in the same field. We're all potentially on the same team. We have an ultimate end goal to make money and to satisfy the client. That's it. Why is it gotta be hard? I know other markets, they bump heads, trying to take work. I'm all about everybody getting a piece of the pie. Always been that way.
Yeah. I love that mindset. So last question here. Just to tell us anything else you'd like us to know, anything else you'd like to add about yourself, about your gig career, about your market, anything else you'd like to share with us on this spotlight.
Look, man, I really hope to see dispatch continue and to scale and just make the community a better place. If there's opportunity to help a client in need, I hope dispatch is the one that gets in there and offers them a solution. And I really do, because I think dispatch, if we could just get in touch with more clients that we know that need help, I think it would be a great thing. That's all. I hope to see dispatch scale.
Perfect. And that's
I'll be a part of it.
Of course, and that's what we plan to do as well. So we are certainly aligned on that.
Hey, look, man. That last thing, I got to represent when I'm on the job.
Oh wow, nice.
Had a custom made, baby.
Love it. I love it. That's great. I gotta show my team that. They'll be excited to see that. But thank you for joining us today. That'll conclude this episode of Conversations with Drivers. Thank you for joining us today and for driving with dispatch. And I look forward to getting this post up, and thank you for all your work with dispatch. You've been here for 4 years. You're one of the more vocal people on our webinars, and I definitely appreciate that. And so, keep up the great work.
Thanks for tuning in for another episode of Driving with Dispatch. My name's Kenny from the Norfolk 757. We'll see you on the next one.
That's great. Great sign off.
There you go. All right, Bubba.
All right.